thank you ladies for being here. We're at episode 2 of, we kind of revamped the name. It was What's Love? Now we're going with Girl Talk because we think it's a better idea. It's broad. We can talk about a lot of different topics. So thank you guys for being here. You could be anywhere else. You chose to be here tonight. So the way this goes and the way we play this game, basically, we're going to have some questions. We're going to time them at 10 minutes. We just want you guys to give your opinions. Talk about how you feel, what you think. Let's try to keep some order. So even if we get really excited, let's try to allow each other to speak. And from there, let's just have some fun. So first of all, I want to say that today's episode is sponsored by Jessica's Breakables. It's beautiful.
Ooh, that looks so good.
Yeah,
Can you hold it? Can you hold it up for us, just so we can get a good look,
Okay.
a nice good look? And you can check Jessica's Breakables on Instagram at Jessica's Breakables. Jessica_Breakable. Sorry about that. On Instagram. So, who would like to do the honors of breaking it?
Does anyone have like pent up aggression or anything? And they just want
Go for it.
It's all you.
It looks so cute. I want to take a picture. So
You take a picture before I destroy it?
Can I?
Yeah, carry on.
I want to take a picture. I feel like I should.
How hard is it to break? Is it hard to break?
Yeah, it needs to be powerful.
Okay.
Let's get a good
Maybe,
hit.
I mean, I don't go to the gym, so.
Go for it. Oh, okay.
Not that hard, not that hard.
Okay, so yeah, everybody take one.
Thank you.
Oh, look at you, so cute. Mine doesn't look like that.
Dear diary.
Yeah, sorry about that. So that's my doing. The other ones are my doings.
It'll do.
So don't read it out loud. Just keep it to yourself for now.
Oh, look at this. There's
candy.
candies. Yes, treats in
Little
here.
treats in there.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Treat.
Do you want a chocolate?
I'll take a Ferrero.
Okay.
Thanks.
Delicious.
All right. So I'm thinking, let's start with Kristen. We'll read out your question first, and then we will start time.
Yeah. So as everybody knows, I can't see without my glasses.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm the designated reader for the evening. Do you think men respect women who give it up to them easily?
I do not think that men, for the most part, respect women who give it up easily. I think that obviously times are changing and, you know, women are a little bit more forthcoming and upfront with their sexuality. But at the same time, I think that there is always a lot to be said about, getting to know the person a little bit before you give it up to them. I think that for women, they hold the power when it comes to sex. Women can really get sex wherever they want.
Totally.
It's not that hard for us to go outside and be like, hey, can I have some dick?
Yep.
And it's pretty much everywhere. But for men, it's completely opposite. So I think that, to answer the question, yeah, I don't think that men would respect a woman if they gave it up super easy. It's also not as fun. I think that there's always a little bit of fun and a tiny bit of chase.
What do you guys think?
I'm gonna piggyback off of you, and I think that for the most part, guys will not either cherish your relationship or think that it'll go any further than just sex. If you just gave it up, he doesn't have to put any work in. It's just there. Why buy the cow if you already get to milk it, so to speak?
Yeah.
In saying that, though, I also feel that girls are way more influenced on their sexuality. I think social media has also played a factor into that. You are allowed to kind of be, a hoe, or you're allowed to kind of go and explore and have partners with who you want to. That being said, I also think it's based on the situation and the person, because you can play the front that that's what you want to do and how you can live, but at the end of the day, that's not what you want. So it really depends on the scenario that you want. But girls 100% can fuck who they want, and guys fuck who they can.
True.
Just saying.
True.
They can. What do you think?
Hashtag.
I don't know. Like, I agree with both of you, but I also think that if you're the type of man who respects women, you're going to respect them regardless
through.
if they give it up on the first date or not. So I feel like whether you give it up or not, that's not going to determine if a guy respects you.
So I'm
Like,
right
teach their
here.
own,
I'm right
you know?
here. I disagree with both of you strongly. I feel like it's about the person. If he's a man that has respect, he probably didn't have any respect for you before he wanted you to have sex with him anyways. So if that's all he wanted, and that's what he came for, whether you give it up or not, that's not necessarily going to affect what he personally thought about you to begin with. If he looked at you and wanted a particular thing from you and he gets it, I think that's what he came for. I don't think that's necessarily going to waver. What you do isn't going to influence who he is in terms of how he respects women.
I'd like to interject quickly. Should you care? So with that all being said, everything you guys are saying, like, as a woman, should you care if the guy doesn't respect you or not? If you got what you wanted out of it?
It depends. It
Yeah,
depends
it's on
on
the
what you want from
situation.
him. Like, if you want more from him, then obviously, yes, you should care. But it depends on the situation and what the woman wants.
I feel like if you go out and you find someone that's super attractive and you're like 100% I just want to fuck, cool, fuck, get it over with. But I think that if you have good intentions with an individual and you see something with that person and then you have sex and they ghost, then that's going to be like detrimental to yourself because you're going to be like, oh man, I gave it up and I should have waited. And then you have that internal battle with yourself.
Yeah.
So I really think it depends on what playing field you want to be on. Like, do you want to be like, okay, whatever, I can get dick whenever I want, or do you want that relationship? It really depends.
Yeah, it totally depends on what you're looking for.
If
For
you're
sure.
trying to build
Yeah.
something, then you care.
Do you think that, like, women actually really want the relationship, as you were saying earlier? Like, do they want the relationship? So they're thinking, like, if I do this, it could kind of help push it to the place that I want it to go, kind of thing? Is that what you think?
I hope nobody's that naive to think that. Like, I really hope, but I don't know.
I think
Maybe.
that's like that stupid subject. Oh, let's have a baby and it'll save our relationship.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
epic fail.
Yeah.
Like, don't have a baby and don't give it up if that's not what you want. Like, that's not going to make your life any easier.
Totally.
Make them work for it, essentially.
Yeah.
So I think you guys are all pretty much in the same agreement with that. So with that being said, I think we should move on to the next question. So DeAndre, you have the
You
next
go
one.
next? Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was not bad.
Yeah.
Does society force you to have children?
Woo!
Let's talk to the mothers.
You don't want to start?
Here too.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe I should start. I don't
Yeah.
have any
You're the
kids.
only
Yeah.
one with no children.
You go.
Lovely. I think you all were forced by society to have kids. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I think, the word force, I think it's a strong encouragement. I think just the way that society is built, you're told or you're encouraged to attain to certain, or aspire to certain milestones in your life. And I think children is just one of them. I don't think it forces you. I think it's just a strong,
Pressure.
overcast,
It's a lot of pressure.
pressure where it's like, you won't see a lot of fulfillment in your life unless you achieve these certain milestones. When you first graduate, then it's like, okay, well, where are you going to school next? After you graduate, okay, well, when are you getting married? And well, now that you got married, what job are you going to have? And well, now that you're married with a job, are you going to have a kid? So it just seems to be that's a
next thing on a
natural
checklist.
Yeah.
thing on a checklist. I don't think it's a force, but I think it's just a strong pressure.
I think that as the generations go on, the pressure gets less and less. I think you may feel it less than, say, someone in my generation where
so we're just going to separate our generations?
Yeah,
That's what
totally.
we're gonna
Yeah,
do.
we're totally gonna
Okay,
do
lovely. All right.
Yeah.
So let's do that. Yeah.
That's what we're
We'll
doing.
separate the generations.
That's what
Great.
we're doing.
I like that. Mm-hmm.
But like, and it also depends on if you're in a long-term relationship. So for example, like my husband and I were dating for 7 years before we got engaged. So, after the first few years of dating, everyone was asking, oh, when are you going to get engaged? Are you going to get married? Are you going to blah, blah, blah? Then when we got engaged, oh, when's the wedding date? And then we got married. Oh, where's the kids coming? When's the kids coming?
Where's the kids?
And it never
So-
ends. You have a kid, and
Yeah,
then you're like, oh,
when
you're
you
gonna
can
have
have
another
one,
one.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't I kind of feel like the generations coming up after are focused on totally different things, which is awesome. It's great, whatever. But definitely, I personally felt the pressure to, do A, B, C, and D all in that chronological order, which,
It's kind of just a conversation topic. It's just something to say when you see someone.
People don't know what to say. Yeah, maybe.
How you doing?
I don't know.
When
I
you
think
get
I did
married,
it
what's your
totally
kid?
backwards. So for me, I didn't have that pressure. I had my kids young, or I had my first son when I was really young, and it wasn't like, oh, well, now are you going to get... It was just, okay, I have a baby, so, like, now what's the next step? And I felt more pressured for those next steps than I actually did having my son. So it really... I think depends on your situation. I think if you're getting older, then the expectation is like, sure, why aren't you having a baby? Or why, like, what is your plan and how long are you going to take? But I think if it's reversed and it's flipped and you have a kid earlier, people aren't pushing you. Or people aren't, like, putting pressure on you to have a baby because you already have it. So, like, what is the next thing you're going to do?
Yeah.
But I think it's all associated with timelines and expectations of others. We're just, the pressure's placed on us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think women in today's generation, today's world, want to have kids? Do you think it's a want?
I think it depends. It's individual.
Yeah, it's very
It really
individual, for sure.
I think it's still there. I don't know if it's like a need to, a must anymore. I think that definitely there's a lot more career-driven women and a lot more independent women nowadays. And a lot more financially stable women. I think before, in like way previous generations, it was the woman was very dependent on a partner in order to have children. You know what I mean? So yeah,
It wasn't a choice. It was just what you did.
Yeah.
Right?
That
Like,
was the
if you already
value
have
of a
kids,
woman.
that's
You
it.
have a child. I think that is gone. I think the pressure, the context in which to have the kid is different. Nowadays, if you want to have one, you have one. You're alone. You're with someone. You're common law. You're not. You're single. Whatever. That the dynamic of having the child in the family is very different versus just having a child nowadays.
I even think the quantity of children, like most people will just, I just want one, and just to say that I have one. We're not influenced or pressured to have multiples like
7 and 8
previous
kids
generations,
anymore.
right?
Yeah.
Like if you think most of our parents have more than 1 or 2 siblings, but in this day and age, people are having 1 or 2 children. A, because it's so expensive to have kids. B, there are people who are dedicated to their careers, want to be successful themselves. I think it really plays a factor on what you want out of your life, selfish or not, but I think that's what plays a factor on this day and age.
So do you guys think, being mothers, do you think that now that you have children, and obviously that maternal instinct kicks in when you see somebody with another baby, do you guys think that it's something that you really wanted? Because obviously your younger self was like, no, I didn't really want it. But now you have your own, and then you see others. Is it like an instinct that kicks in over time, do you think, for your own personal legacy, for your life?
For me, it totally was. Like, all throughout my 20s, I didn't want kids. I was like, nope, don't want kids. Nope. And then for whatever reason, I literally turned 30, and I was like to my husband, like, okay, let's go. Like, let's have a baby. So for me, I don't know why, whether it's like, the ticking time clock of your uterus or whatever, but yeah, I definitely felt that.
yeah, I'm right there. Like
Yeah.
I didn't want kids. Like, we didn't want kids. We were very clear on that. No marriage, no kids. We were very clear for the first few years of our dating life. We were very clear on that. And even, we did decide that we did want a family, but I didn't even like kids. Didn't like babies, didn't like kids. I didn't want any part of it. No, I didn't. I don't. I still
No,
don't.
I get it. I
But-
get it.
no,
I get it.
No, but I didn't. And
Get it.
but the thing is, speaking of maternal instinct, which is so bizarre because I never thought I had one my whole life. And then as soon as I had my baby, it's like now I see other babies and I'm like, oh my god, they're so cute. And that was not me like 5 years ago. I would have been like, ew, get it away from me.
Literally. That's so
But,
true.
Yeah,
Really.
now that
It's
you
so true.
now like when you have one, you're just like, give me more. It's weird. I don't know how to
So
explain
now that you
it,
guys
but-
have your own kids, right? So you have your own kids. in terms of your personal life legacy, is that something that you would tell others that they should go after? Not obviously you're talking about younger self.
No.
If you're giving advice,
No.
would you tell?
No,
Let's say
No.
let's say the one
I don't
that's
think
sitting
so.
right next to
No.
you. You
It's
still
a
not.
hard no.
Yeah.
It's a hard no. You have to want it for yourself.
Yeah.
You
I
can't,
seriously-
like, I'm not going to
yes,
sit here and
yes.
say, like, have kids to somebody who doesn't know if they want to have kids or they don't want to have kids. I'm not going to say, you have to have kids. Like, no. It's like, we're in our 30-somethings, and it's hard. Like, kids are hard. They're great, but they're hard. So you have to really be in that mindset. And I think I would go back to myself in my 20s and say, okay, make sure that you are there, that you want kids, that, you know, you've accomplished a lot in your life and you've gotten yourself to a certain part where you're comfortable and you want to have kids. I think that you can definitely rebuttal because
I was gonna say
you did the
totally,
opposite.
I totally kind of disagree because
Yeah.
for me, I had no choice. I had my kids young, and I had no choice but to like thrive and do better for myself, and like not to toot my own horn or anything, but like I've done very well for myself, and I literally think it's because I had no choice. Like I had to hustle my ass. I had to work 2 jobs. Like I wanted so much more for myself than to be like a young mom, that I just like wanted to prove the stereotype wrong. So me and myself in this life now, to think like, oh man, to have a baby is like, ugh, like I don't know if I would now that my kids are bigger, right? Like it's a whole other life. But then being so close to like Kristen's daughter, and you know, being there with her, like sometimes I'm like, oh man, like you could really miss this, and like, you know, it's such a precious time that like when I was younger you don't really appreciate it because you're just hustling, bustling and going with it. Like my kids I've grown up with, I've had, you know, we just have done everything together. I didn't really have that like, let's stop and enjoy it, and kind of like, you know, the time goes so fast as maybe like how you would now, because you know how your life was when you were younger. For me, I didn't have that. So I think it really depends on the situation. I would still tell my younger self, like, be as hungry as you were and like do everything that you can regardless of the situation that you're in, kids or no kids. But it's like no joke. Like kids are no joke.
So obviously because you had your kids much younger, would you say that it's better to have them younger or older? That's a good question there too.
So my experience is younger because I have no choice. Like I didn't go through my 20s, most of my 20s and then my 30s with no kids, right? Like I only knew that life. And then now when my girlfriends are having kids and they're like, oh my God, it's so hard. I'm like, oh fuck, shut up. Like, it's fine. Do you know what I mean? Like you'll do it. It's fine. But they only know their life of 30 years by themselves. So like they're more independent, or they're more, you know,
It's like
caught
you
up in
got
their own
used
life.
to your freedom, and then
Right.
it's taken away. Whereas if you had them young,
Yeah, like I have no
you didn't know what
choice.
you're missing out on, kind of thing.
Yeah, I missed out on bar nights, but then
Yeah,
I was
would
like,
you?
okay, well, money in the bank for a mortgage, and like, you know, it's just,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
very different lives, but at the same time, like, you grow up together. So I don't know, it's very circumstantial, I think.
Yeah, I think
It
there's
is.
so many pros and cons to both, because like having my daughter, I'm just like so overwhelmed in love with her. I'm like, why didn't I do this earlier? But if I did it earlier, we wouldn't be like as financially stable or secure, or maybe I wouldn't appreciate her as much now. Like there's so many like variables. Yeah, like I think there's pros and cons to having children young, and I think there's pros and cons to having children
How
a
about
little
speaking
bit
It's
from-
older.
just what's good for
Speaking
you.
from
Yeah.
a younger person's, you're the youngest at the table.
Why do I have to do that?
Talk
Older you.
talk about
No, we're not
We're
doing
doing
that.
I'm right here. I don't know. I need to
Talk
know.
about
Share
your-
ages.
Talk about your perspective, not having kids, and what you think.
Oh, I'm free as a bird. I can go to bar nights. I don't have to wake up at 3 o'clock for feeding. I don't know any of this life. It's great.
Oh my God, so funny.
No, what was your question? My perspective?
Yeah, like you in the world you're in with your girlfriends and your generation.
Like if I would want to have kids,
yeah,
young?
what your perspective is like. give
Or
us
like
your-
now, what if you got pregnant tomorrow?
Yeah.
What would your thoughts be?
I think definitely having a child in this time is just very hard, because like even if like I feel like the world is just a lot more harsh. And I know every generation probably says that.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like the things that, you know, our parents or our parents' parents had to deal with, it seemed terrible at the time. But now, like, for our generation, or even the kids that are after me, like, I'm really close to my baby cousin, and just listening to the things that she has to deal with in school. So this could be the simplest thing, like, growing up, I was watching Flintstones. I wanted to see, like, you know, Braceface and, like, The Weekenders. Those are the shows that I ran home to watch. She's running home to watch, like, 5 Reasons Why, or was it 13 Reasons Why? They're killing themselves on Netflix, and for her, that's a good Friday night to put in her brain and learn about suicide. And I'm just like,
How did we get here?
Very dark.
What was that question?
Very, very dark.
I'm just talking about the generations, how they're different. So for my child, if I was to have one in today's age, or today's day and age, even like, you know, you see grade 12s, their prom, they just look like full-grown women. I just feel like I would do my best. If I had to have a child now, or if I got pregnant tomorrow, or even in the future when I do eventually have one, God willing, I would really try to maintain and just have my child actually go through all the stages. I think it's so important, you know? And I feel like, as I was saying before, like, it's just, every circumstance is different, every person is different. For Jess, having her child or younger was good for her. For others, it may not be. For a lot of, you know, people who do that, it's very difficult for them to adjust. Mm-hmm. But for Kristen, she said she enjoyed it, having it later on in life. So I don't think the time is what to get hung up on, for me personally, or the age. Things come when they're supposed to come. I think it's just about when it happens, you know, doing the best or making the best of what you can at that moment. And that's why I said, when I do have and what I have, I think how I'll try to make the best is allow my child to go through all the phases. They will ride their bike. They will, you know, watch the Flintstones and have their moments of their acne phase and all of that, and then grow up to learn about the hardships.
You don't want to contour your 12-year-old?
No! My child will play with dolls. They will, like, you know, go through all the phases. They're not going to be watching and, like, you know, having these adult experiences when they're so young. Just heavy.
I mean, this is very off topic, but you have no choice.
Oh.
You literally
thinking,
don't.
like, good luck.
no.
You literally don't. You,
No.
Deprive them.
you can go home. You can whip your child's ass when they come home.
No
you can make
iPad
them,
when you're 6. There
No.
will be no friends that
That's
talk
what-
to you about foolishness when you're
That's
9.
what you think.
No.
That's what you think. I was literally in the car with my kids today, and they were singing with The Weekend.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
like,
we're not
where?
doing that.
From what?
No.
But the video games, the influences, the kids at school, like, it's totally
It's
different.
hard.
It's totally different.
I know.
And, like, we can put as many rules and boundaries, and I could literally have my kids come home and sit in their rooms.
Yes.
But when they're at school for those 8 hours a day, you have zero impact on them. It's inevitable.
We'll
Like,
be homeschooled. And we'll live on a
good
farm.
luck.
In Muskoka.
Good luck. Homeschool this year, 2020, 2021,
And
has
we're
been
living
the
on a
worst
farm in
experience.
Muskoka. That's it. I don't want no other influence. You
All right.
will.
Well, with that being said, we're going to go to a break. We want to thank our sponsors. So hold on. Are you hungry? Do you love cookies? Oh my goodness, look at these cookies right here. Jesus. We want to thank today Hello Fat Cookie. And if you want to check them out, go to Fat Cookie at Instagram. Or if you have any inquiries for any sort of parties that you're trying to run, type in hellofatcookie@gmail.com. HELLO fatcookie@gmail.com. Thanks again for today's episode of Girl Talk.
Listen, she made some good money off me this last month because I got her and my other girlfriend.
And we're back. And we will go with Tamara on the next question.
Okay, so what advice do you give to women in abusive relationships?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Ooh.
Let's go with that. That's a
Bitch,
good
run.
Yikes.
You know what? The running emoji? Run. Or that meme with
The TikTok.
Run.
Run.
Literally.
I feel like it's so complicated.
It's so complicated.
It is so
I would
'Cause there's
say
so many
you
forms,
are,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and like I would just say like you are so strong, like you are stronger than you know. But yeah, get your ducks in a row and then run. Because I mean, it's easy to say just run, but like there's so many other factors. Like what if you have kids, or like I don't know,
What
your
if you're
financial
financially
situation.
dependent?
Yeah, there's so many factors. So just be strong and.
So let me narrow it
That's
down.
so
What
sad.
if it's a physically abusive relationship? What do you tell that person? And they
Talk to
feel like they
someone.
can't leave.
They say they can't
They
leave.
feel like they
Oh,
can't leave
feel like
because
they
of
can't
kids,
leave.
let's say, for instance.
Well, you can. You can always leave. Like it's gonna be hard, but you gotta go. Yeah.
I
I
think
feel
it's
like you
different-
need that confidant. You need someone that you can divulge all the details to give you like a sounding board. Like you need to
Yeah.
have someone that you can confide in and trust with everything to allow yourself to like talk through the motions of leaving that relationship, or like someone to give you the push in order
I'll play
to
devil's
the question-
advocate
the
just before you go.
question
Just
says
before you
though-
go, I'm gonna play devil's advocate to that though, because I've known a girl that was in an abusive relationship, but in her mind she always would say, "I caused it. The only reason why he hit me is because I made him hit me," and she couldn't leave because in her mind she would always go, "It's my fault. It's not his fault." How do you correct something like that?
because she's verbally abused, she's being manipulative, he's a narcissist.
Psychological.
There's so many different types of abuse that really you have to like take it as a whole picture. Like, for instance, I have a girlfriend that literally just left an abusive relationship, and it took years for her to even see it. A kid, a proposal, an almost marriage, to the point that like I was literally on her bachelorette weekend being like, man, you shouldn't do this. Like, if I could be that one person that looks back and tells you the truth that you shouldn't do this, like, you need to have a community around you. Like, you have to be able to give information to somebody. You have to be able to lessen that load on your, like, off of your heart and give that, like, you know, allow someone to help you through that situation. I don't think that you can do it alone necessarily. I think you need kind of like a rally of support behind you to give you the confidence in order to escape that reality.
So the advice would be like ask for help,
I was
kind
about
of
to
thing.
say,
Yeah.
specifically, what would you tell her though? Because
Yeah.
the question is, what advice would you give? So someone comes to you and they're saying,
Yeah.
I'm being abused, like word for word, like what are you going to say?
I would literally say you can do it by yourself. This isn't what love is. Like, love isn't supposed to be hurtful. Love isn't supposed to cause you pain. Love isn't supposed to make you cry at night. Love isn't supposed to, like, taint your soul or make you doubt yourself. That's not what love is whatsoever. Like, it's the complete opposite of everything that you're feeling. So I think the advice would be, like, is to dig deep within yourself and be able to find your own strength in order to leave that situation. And it might take months, it might take years, you literally have no idea. But until you find yourself and you have the strength to leave, is then you'll look back and be like, what the fuck was I doing? Like, how did I even tolerate that? Why did
Once
I
you're
even
out of
think
it.
that was acceptable? But when you're in it, you don't think of anything else but like the whole like, why me, or this is happening because of me, because you're so belittled and you're so neglected as to what love is. It's just a negative environment.
I think the advice I give would be depending on the individual. I think in those type of situations, everything that you said is very valid, but I think what I would take away from your point, in my opinion, is that it depends on where the person is at when they come to talk to you. Sometimes people are, as you said, they're so deep into their pain, they're so deep into their situation, that they really don't want to fix it. They just want to talk to you about it. So if they're coming to me and they're seeking for, advisement, but it's clear that they don't, like, you can only help someone if they want to be helped. So if they're coming to you for advice, but they don't actually plan on change or reprimanding their situation, it sounds a little harsh, but I don't think I would, it's not a waste of breath, but for lack of better words, waste my breath to pour into and feed and love and care for someone in that sense when I know that this is not registering. I would definitely support, but when you're ready to accept it and you're ready to hear it and you really want to ingest what I'm telling you, then I think that's when I'd come with all of that encouragement. Okay, now you're ready to leave? All right, I'm right here with you, before you, I'm beside you. But up until that point, I think people, they have to sometimes they have to come to conclusions on their own before they're ready to take your advice. So what advice would I give? I think I'd assess who's, where they're at and what they need to hear. and what they need at that moment. And depending on where they're at, if they're really ready to leave, then, advisement as such. If they're at a point where they're not really ready to leave, they just really want to vent, then I just listen.
Yeah, but they can vent, and you can still give them advice as to, like, how to navigate the situation.
Yeah.
Not to go back in it and still think that this is an acceptable relationship.
Mm-hmm. But you don't think sometimes people don't listen? You're giving them advice, but they're not hearing you.
I know, but I think it's because there's so much trauma, there's so much hurt. Until the person is actually physically ready to, like, stand up by themselves and, like, realize that there's an issue, they will never leave. Yeah. But I think, like, having a circle of people that can kind of, like, give them positive influences and give them positive information to say, like, this isn't a healthy relationship, or, like, this isn't what love is, this isn't what you deserve, or, perhaps there's issues with him, or vice versa. Like, you never know. Or her. Like, the abuser could be a female, too. It really goes both ways.
That's true, too.
But I think you have to be open to the positive and negative feedback. Like, there's really... I don't know, it's like such a sensitive situation, but I think that you also have to be able to separate your emotions from the reality of things. And if you need to tell your friend, like, man, this is a hard situation and this isn't something that you should be in for your mental stability, for your physical stability, for anything, like, you're not getting any positive attributes, like, this is a whole negative situation, you should be able to voice that and help them navigate it, as opposed to just being like, it'll get better, like, it won't. Like, a zebra won't change its stripes, a cheetah won't change its spots, like, it is what it is.
But I think the person that is in it also, like, to Deandra's point, it's almost like an addict. Like, they need to want to come out of it. Because I've been in a situation personally where I've had a friend who's been in a physically, emotionally, psychologically abusive relationship. I've tried to help her come out of it, and then she just went right back into it.
She's not really hearing what you're
She
saying.
wanted to come out of it. She was saying she wanted to come out of it, so I helped her come out of it. Physically helped her come out of it. Financially helped her come out of it. But then she went right back into it. So it's very tough. I think that if the person does have the support around them, that is a blessing, and that is, like, that's a very, very good thing for them to have. But not everybody has that either. Like, not everybody in that situation has a community around them, right? Or, you know what I mean? So I think that that person needs to want that help too.
I was gonna say, do you think, like, I know you were saying community, do you think it's hard because, let's say the person, the spouse, regardless if it's a man or a woman, they don't allow you to have a community. They won't allow you to be around people because they don't want you to be around people to experience what it's like to be in a good, wholesome relationship. What they want to show you is, this is what it is, and that's it. Like, don't even look somewhere else.
Right.
So I think it's a difficult thing. Actually, as we're talking here, I just looked at some stats, and it says 3 out of 10 women have experienced some sort of trauma in terms of physical, mental, some sort of abuse.
Men are
So-
very abusive.
So
Men are shit.
Men are very, very abusive.
They
human beings.
manipulate
Yes.
all situation, okay?
Just run, sis.
Yeah,
run.
run.
They all suck.
Just go buy yourself AA batteries, you'll be fine.
so like, how do you identify? The question I would ask: how do you identify you're in an abusive relationship? Because there's so many different factors, and how do you get to that community of finding people? Because to your point, how do you mentally now turn that trigger to say, you know what, this guy is not treating me well, and I need to go and find some people that can help me get out of this? How do you get there?
I don't know. That's hard. That's so hard. Like, I personally, I've never been in that situation, and honestly, I wouldn't know where to start. Like, I'm sure there's tons of support groups. Like, maybe you're lucky to have good friends, but if you're not, like, there's support groups, but I wouldn't even know how to access that. Like, what would you do?
You go to your parents first? Like, where do you go?
I don't know.
I think it starts with the person. It depends on the tenacity of the person. If the individual is someone who is helpless, like, in terms of their personality, they play that
victim
role.
maybe not
well.
even playing, they're just like a meek person, maybe
And
they really
that's what
are.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
It starts with the person. They have to build the desire to want to search, and I think sometimes, unfortunately, it has to get bad enough too, where they get to the point where they're like, even I can't take this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where to start, but I'm just going to start Googling things and see what I find.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start.
Thank God for Google now.
Like, literally, like, I'm just gonna,
Yeah.
like, walk down the street and start talking to people, or I'm gonna hop on the internet, or I'm just gonna literally just pull at strings until I find something and see where it takes me.
But that's what I
Because
feel. At like a point that someone is already coming to confide in you, they already see that it's not a normal
It's not
situation.
right. Yeah.
Right? There's already it doesn't matter if it's verbal or emotional or physical. If they have already triggered themselves to be like, maybe this isn't right. Let me talk to someone about it, or let me even compare stories. I feel like that is already a step in them opening up to tell you that their situation is vulnerable.
I think the biggest problem in those situations is that by the time it gets there, they've already pushed so many people away.
Yeah.
And like, because I'm just thinking about my personal situation, and like, literally I fought her to help her.
yeah.
So she, like, her parents wanted none of it because they had already tried to help X amount of times. A lot of her friends already tried to help X amount of times, and I literally had to fight her to get her out of it. So sometimes it's just, it's not even enough for them to realize it.
So sad.
Yeah, but
It's
they're
so
addicted.
sad.
But they
So
also
sad.
get addicted to the drama. They also get
Absolutely.
addicted to like the negative environment. It's like the boy who cried wolf. Like, I need help, I need help, I need help, and then you
You
go and
actually
offer
want
your
it.
help, and they're like, I'm not really ready yet.
Yeah.
And then it just gets worse and worse, and then they're like, I need help, and then again, like you're back in the same situation. It's like a revolving door, right? Like the same thing over and over again. But eventually, the person that is being abused, more times than not, will have the epiphany and will have the like aha moment that, man, this isn't real. Like this isn't what life is supposed to be. Regardless, if they're verbally abused and they have absolutely no self-confidence anymore and they are just totally distraught amongst themselves, or if they're being physically abused and they end up in the hospital, eventually, if it takes a month, if it takes a year, they will get to that point. And like that's just talking about firsthand experiences with individuals that I know. Eventually they will have that moment that's like, wow, this has gotten way worse or way more out of control than even I can handle. And that's kind of when they lean on you for support. But as a friend, as a confidant, as a family member, as whatever you are to that individual being abused, like you constantly have to reassure them and give them advice that isn't a healthy relationship.
So I think that's where I know the question says what advice, and if I'm going to answer the question directly, as I said, I think I agree with you. Eventually they do come to that epiphany. I think for me personally, I support them until they come to it. I'm not ever going to give advisement or give my personal opinion. It's really great after so many years. Clearly you saw the need to take your friend out of it, but I don't think that's how I would operate
You're
if
gonna
someone
listen.
close to me. Yeah, because I just...
I'd go pull that bitch by her hair out of the house.
That's not that's not
I
my place.
literally would.
That's
I'd
not
be
my
like,
business.
nope, I'm
Because
not
if you're
watching
not
you.
ready,
Nope.
if you're not ready, you're not doing that person any good. People sometimes, especially depending on the personality, some people, there's an expression, you have to burn to learn. Some people literally have to go through all the pain and the trauma for them to realize,
That's true.
okay, I'm finally done with it. Now I can hear what you're saying. But I'm not going to waste my breath sitting here and telling you, you can do it for like weeks and years on end, only for you to run back to the abuse situation every single day. I love you. I'll pray for you, but it's wasting my time. You can come talk to me when you're really, really ready. And it's not that I'm going to, alienate
Tough
you.
love.
I will, and unfortunately I am that way.
No,
But I
100%.
will love you through it, and I will support you. I will stay up. I will call. But you're not going to hear those like, oh yeah, you don't need to be doing that. And those words from me until you really, really are ready to receive it. Because then when people are ready to receive it, and it sounds bad, but when they're at their lowest moment and their life is broken and there's nothing else that they can do, that is when they receive it best. And they say, you know what? I finally hear what you're saying. And you're like, yes, thank you. You hear me. And I just think, like, that's what even therapists do. They don't tell you how to fix your issues. They just help you come to your own realizations.
Yeah.
So for me, what advice? I'm really going to assess the person in front of me. If they ain't ready to hear it, I'm not saying anything until they're really broken and at their lowest moment.
I'm blunt as fuck.
Then I will help them.
Me too.
Yeah, I'd literally be like, get the fuck out of there. Like,
No.
bitch, run.
No.
Yeah.
I'll
No,
talk
I'm
to
like
you
that too.
Yeah.
for 3 hours.
There's no pussyfooting around it. Like,
Yeah.
if A and B is not equaling what you want, like, get the fuck out. What are you waiting? What are you waiting for?
And then she'll be like, okay, and go back home to him.
yeah,
and
but
I'm
then
like,
the next time she comes crawling, I'll be like, bitch, I already told you what to do.
how does that fix anything?
I will listen to you always, but my opinion is still going to stay the same. My advice is still to leave.
That's so
My
funny.
advice is that you don't need to
Bitch,
be
I
there.
already told you what to do.
Like, there's 2
You're
billion
still
dicks
there.
on this earth.
No.
Like, there is no need
No,
to.
I'll be like, he did it again. Yes, I know. So you ready to leave yet? No. Okay, call me next week.
Literally, but I would be like, bitch, you need to leave. Okay, yeah, I'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Oh my god.
All right, episode number 1, Fat Guys TV.
Fat Guys TV, you already know.
You
The
got-
best part of the chicken is the thigh. Why? Because we said so.
Absolutely. So today, we're at Winnie's Jerk. This spot is incredible. He's been here for 4 years. You definitely have to check him out. We're in Milton, Ontario. This is right off of Bronte. We're definitely gonna do a dive in with Winston, the owner. We're gonna ask some questions. We're gonna get to know who he is. We're gonna understand how he started the business and really get to taste some of the best food. So we want you guys to stay tuned with us.
So.
Oh, yours is so
I know, mine is
Show
so
that to
cute.
the camera. Look how awesome that looks.
I'm so
I'm all about stationery, so this, like,
Yeah, the little extra
spoke to my
effort.
heart. Anyways, it says, how long should a girl wait for a proposal?
Ooh, that's a good
Oh,
one.
that's a good
God.
That's a
epic
good
question.
Start it off.
Okay.
Start it off.
I waited a decade.
Oh!
I waited a decade. Literally.
You win.
10
However,
years.
yes, I mean we were children when we met, so that has something to do with it. But yeah, I did because we weren't ready, like we were kids. So I know this is such like
Yeah.
a PC answer, but everyone's situation is different. Now that I'm 31, am I going to wait a decade? No. But you know, when you're 16 and you're a child, you know,
Yeah.
10 years isn't that long to get engaged, married, 26. That's still pretty young.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
What I think
You
about the
waited
whole,
too.
I waited too, and what I think about the whole situation is, I had a lot of pressure going back to like the I don't know if it was the first question about being pressured about having children, but I had a lot of pressure about being a certain age and being in a long-term committed relationship and not having that ring on my finger yet, to the point where I had somebody actually who wasn't even close to me, like just literally a colleague, a work peer, say to me that, why don't you just give him an ultimatum? Like, if you don't have a ring on your finger by X date, why don't you just give him an ultimatum? And I said to her, I love him. Like, we're cool. Like, this is the person I want to be with for the rest of my life, regardless if there's a ring, regardless of if we get engaged, if we get married, whatever. What's an ultimatum going to do? Like, it's going to make him leave. So then where am I?
Like, and
Without
do you want to
him?
be that woman who's
Yeah.
like, you know, like
But
propose
also,
or it's
most
done,
importantly,
that's annoying.
like, then I don't have him.
Yeah.
I want him.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with
Minor
him.
detail.
So, like, why am I going to make
I
him
kind of
go
want that,
away?
guys.
But I think that's also very circumstantial because you guys already had that agreement, like no marriage, no kids.
Oh, did you?
We did. Yes, we did.
But people
then
change.
change.
But
Like,
people
yeah,
change,
yeah.
yeah.
No, but that's what I
Yeah.
mean. But in that
Yeah,
situation,
that's
you were
true.
comfortable.
We were
with the
comfortable.
situation
Yeah.
that was at hand. If
Yeah.
someone was like, "Oh my God, like I am 27 and I have to be married before I'm 27. Like, this is like a hard stop for me. And you don't find that person, so what? If you find that person, you're just going to settle?
Well,
that's who
I
you're
will
gonna-
say this.
Yeah.
So
that's not going to work out either.
No.
let's all remember my 30th birthday.
Let's all.
Let's all. Let me take you back if
Yes.
you weren't
I
there.
wasn't there. Tell me. No.
So, I thought I was getting engaged on my 30th birthday. So we had talked about it like leading up like like a year, whatever, leading up to my 30th birthday. We had talked about, you know, the next step, and like we did actually decide that we did want to get married and whatever. So I was like for sure that it was happening on my 30th to the point where I had to specially request time off work from my boss, telling him like I'm getting engaged.
Oh my God.
So I actually need to be
I never heard this story. I like it.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah. So I told him like I literally need to have this time off because I'm getting engaged. Like I'm certain I'm getting engaged. So please, I need this time off. So he granted me the time off.
And then you go back to work on Monday.
And
with
then I
everything.
went back to work on Monday, and he is so awkward with his emotions, so he made a colleague come out and ask me if it happened, and it didn't. So
hide under your desk at that point.
How did you
There
go to
was
work on Monday morning? But what happened
So-
though at the
Crazy.
party? Like, why didn't it happen? This is the nosiness.
I don't know why.
She's
it
still
didn't
wondering
happen.
what.
I don't know why
Maybe
it
the
didn't
ring wasn't
happen.
ready. Because when you didn't get engaged too long after that.
I got engaged maybe. I think I got engaged when I was like 33.
Yeah, it was a couple years after.
33. Yeah, it was like
okay.
2-3 years after.
That's so funny.
Maybe like 2.5, 3
She
years
said,
after.
"I am sure."
Yeah, but then.
But again, that's an
but to
expectation
my-
that you built in your head.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
to my point, my work colleague then was like, "We'll give him an ultimatum, blah blah blah," right? So I was like, "No, like that's still not gonna like
Yeah.
it's not gonna
You don't
solve
want that for
anything." And
yourself.
like, yes, we were happy, and yes, I did want to get engaged, but I also didn't want to end the relationship if it didn't happen,
Right.
right? So.
Yeah.
What was the question?
What
how long
was
should
the
we
question?
wait?
I know.
I think it was
we
how
kinda
long,
went,
how
like,
long should you
everywhere.
wait?
How long should it wait?
Okay.
How long should you wait for a proposal?
How long? So put a number on it.
You can't put a number on
Yeah,
it.
It depends
Like,
on your age.
Yeah.
It depends on your goals, your wants. Like there's so many
Yeah.
factors.
Hard, fast, 5 years.
Really?
Wow. So we wouldn't be here today if I had a 5-year plan.
But I think, no, I'm just kidding. Hard, fast, 5 years. But I think,
There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
if
no,
that's
no,
what
no.
you
I'm
want,
just
if that's what you
beating
want.
myself
I
up
think
too
it
much.
really depends.
I think it depends on how old you are. If I meet you when I'm mature,
What is
I think
what is
you know,
mature?
Okay, here's my number.
Wait, no,
Here-
wait. What is
here-
mature?
Look, let's try to answer the question. None of this depends. Have an opinion. How about this?
Yeah.
Tread
If-
lightly.
If what you want is to have children, there's an actual age limit on that.
Maybe
There
until you're
actually
40.
is
You're
not.
fine.
You can freeze your eggs.
If you want
can
to,
freeze your eggs.
Yeah.
No, but
Okay,
you
we're
can.
Freeze your eggs, you can adopt, you can,
natural-
There's a
so
surrogate.
many
Talk about
things.
all
until you're
these
40.
essential
Fine.
ideas. No,
45. My mom had my
No.
sister when she was 41.
You have until
Until
without
what age? I wanna know what age,
complications
what age?
to have without complication or your doctor down your throat like you're on bed rest. You have until you're like
Yeah.
Okay, so
36.
After 35.
When you're at like 34, they start telling
They
you,
call
hurry
it-
up,
no, no, no.
hurry
They
up.
call
You-
it
Hurry
geriatric
up.
I had a geriatric pregnancy.
Damn.
Listen to you. You know what geriatrics mean?
I had a youth pregnancy.
It's
You're like,
old people. That's
you
what
are young as fuck.
geriatric means.
Jessica sneezed and those babies came out.
Look here. I'm not saying you
I
can't
don't
do
think
it,
that-
but I'm
that
just
doesn't
saying.
Matter. That doesn't matter.
Oh,
When
it
you-
sure as fuck does.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
I
That's
can't.
your cervix. It doesn't matter.
So,
it's how
hold
you're
on.
born. It's true.
So
it doesn't
I'm
matter.
trying to put a number on it. So based on the number, that when your doctor's really gonna start like itching at your leg, at your uterus, is around like the 34, 35 age. When your doctor's gonna be like, okay, well, you're getting there. You need to, start to make decisions. Okay. So if you want to have kids by that age, and considering if you want to be married before you have kids, let's do some quick maths here, guys. If you want to be dating the person for at least 2 years, because that's the average in-love phase before you get married. So let's just backtrack here. 35, 2 years, that brings you to like 32, 33. Another 2
Assuming
years.
you want one kid.
Assuming you want
more
one.
than one.
Thank
gotta-
you. Then we gotta go backtrack about a year between the
You can
kids.
have back-to-back
So now
too.
we're at 30. Hopefully you have twins. So we're at 30 now. And then if you want to meet him and actually know something about him, we're talking at least another 3 years. Bro, you gotta be married by the time you're like 27. So really, that's a hard fast 5
It only
years.
takes
If
9
you don't
months
know
and one time.
to have one. If you're trying to have a sibling,
You could have 2
bruh,
kids in a
hard
year.
fast 5 years.
You
If
could
I meet
literally
you when I'm
have 2 kids in a
23,
year.
you have until I'm 27. Otherwise,
Here's a question.
I'm
though.
gonna freeze my eggs.
Here's a question for you guys. In today's world, again, we're going back to today's generation. Men don't believe, and I think a lot of women too don't believe in marriage anymore. So, is it even like a thing? Do you need to get married?
No.
No, you don't need to.
I'm a hard no.
Depends on what you
don't
believe
need
in.
to.
That shit.
It depends on what you believe in.
What were you gonna say? You said that shit and you stopped. Yeah, let's go there. No, let's go there. Don't stop. Just go there. Go where you're going.
It depends on what you believe in.
I mean, it probably, again, will be, like, circumstantial and how old you
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
And, like, again, the next steps you're supposed to take. All of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I literally don't think that a marriage leads to a baby and leads to a happy ever after.
No, it
I
doesn't.
think that you can do it in any which way. I think that you can have a baby and not be married and have a happily ever after. I think you can be married and have no kids and have a happily ever after. It really depends, again, on what you want as an individual and how your relationship transpires. Like, I don't think that marriage equals happiness.
No. Not always. That's for sure.
Like-
that
So
was
do you
the
think the
question.
institution is dead? Do you think it's in our generation and this time? Our parents obviously would say it's something you're doing before God, and it will keep you guys together, and it's sacred. Do you think that's
Yeah, but
out
is
of the
it?
window?
Is it?
I don't
Because
think
I'm
it's
pretty
dead.
sure
But
that
whose generation?
I'm pretty
No,
sure
I don't
that
think it's
like
dead. I think
there's-
people
I
are
think it's dead.
waiting longer
Yeah.
to get married, which
Yeah.
is actually probably a good thing because if you
Yeah.
wait longer, you're more mature. Your chances are you're dating the person for 5 years, so you know them
Chances
better.
are you dated
You're
a whole
going
bunch of
to
people
be
before
happy.
that too.
Yeah, also true.
So that
So,
you can figure
I
it
really
out.
think
I
it's
feel
all
like-
fucking bullshit.
Whoa.
I really do. I really think it's
Marriage.
all bullshit. I think I was married before,
Yeah.
and you can have this maple leaf story in your head of like, this is your one and only person, and that one and only person can do you wrong.
Totally.
And then you're in a situation that you never thought you were going to be in.
Yeah.
But marriage as itself, as like that commitment that you take before God and all of those things, like you can have full faith in that working. But if that other person of your party decides to like go outside or decides to like not take that sacrament as seriously as you do, it means nothing.
So I
But can you work on
hardcore
that then
disagree.
after?
Hardcore disagree.
think-
It doesn't mean anything. It's so much, just like it's so much harder to get out of a marriage.
No,
than
it's not.
No, it is. It's harder than
You
just
just
being
leave.
like bye. No, it's not. It's not. You need a lawyer. You have to split your finances. It's a lot harder. So I feel like you're gonna work that much harder if you're married than if you're just dating or if you're just common law.
It really depends on what you're going to put up with.
I think.
Yeah.
No, it depends
does,
on how
but
it depends on how cordial the people are.
Yeah,
So
that's what I
if
was gonna say.
yeah,
Thank you, say it.
so if the people are not cordial and they're just butting heads the
Or
whole
word
time.
just equally yoked.
I'm sorry.
Who?
Equally yoked.
Okay, I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
but
me neither.
if
No.
Did you make it up?
Wow.
No, it's
Equally yoked?
yes.
like
Okay.
I get it,
Google
but
that
like
shit.
anyway,
Like on the same page? Is that
Like,
what it
yeah.
means? Like
Flip
Pretty much.
to your Bible,
Yeah.
equally yoked.
we don't. Yeah, that's another
Yeah.
conversation.
That's for-
No, but it's
Over
the same
my
thing
head.
as saying cordial.
Yeah, but yeah, like I'm saying,
Or like
if-
in agreement. Yeah.
So for me, my parents split up when I was a teenager, and they were so cordial that it didn't even feel like they were like
really?
divorced or
Okay.
like separated. Like my dad would come over every day and like whatever, cook us dinner. He like paid my mom's rent. Like
Oh.
he like it was just so cordial that it was just so smooth and transitional that we didn't even care that they weren't even together.
Okay,
Yeah,
like what-
because I
yeah.
think for them they just put the needs of us above everything else
Okay.
and before their needs.
Mhm.
But on the flip side, if you had two people like
Yeah, like my parents absolutely hated each other until I had my older son. Like they would not even speak to each other or be in the same room.
Yeah.
Like it was completely terrible.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I don't think that you should stay in a relationship or like not leave because you have kids. Like,
no, but you might want to work a little bit harder
Yeah.
because it's not just about you. It's about you're affecting other people's
But
lives.
I think
It's
at
not
the
just
time,
you.
I think at the time that the individual is ready to walk away from their marriage, they have given everything that they can.
I
To
would
the
hope
point
so.
that
I
like
would
when
hope so.
you leave, you're like, man, this feels like a breath of fresh air. Like I've
Right.
finally done everything that I can, that I no longer have anything else to
But
give.
are you going to work that hard if you're not married? If you're just dating, you might not give it everything you have because you're like, that's just a boyfriend. That's not my husband. Like, it's more sacred. It's
That's
more
a good fact.
special. You're not just my boyfriend. You're not
Maybe
my
you slept
Kamala.
an
You are
extra
my
2 years
husband.
because.
Let me play devil's advocate really quickly as a man. What responsibility as women do you take in the divorce or that happening?
What happening?
In the person
No, it depends on
stepping
what
out or what's
caused the
happening.
divorce.
Yeah, it depends what the situation
What
is.
responsibility do you take out?
Like if he's a cheater and he decides to go get his dick whipped by every other female, then it's his fault. Because if you're home,
Yeah.
if you're home taking care of the kids,
So hold on.
and
Let me ask you a
working
question.
and
So
doing
what do you
everything-
say to that expression that says, if somebody cheats on you, then you have to look at yourself in the mirror as to why they did it?
Well, I've
Good point.
never heard that.
Whoa.
What?
No, but that's a good
Expression?
point.
That
That's
is
a
a
good
terrible
point.
That's an expression,
expression.
which is
Okay,
if somebody cheats on you.
Terrible
No.
That's
Don't get me wrong.
not a
Of
good
course,
point.
of course,
I agree 100%
Hold on,
with
hold
you,
on.
Tamara.
Hold on. There's obviously, you're not going to take responsibility for every choice that someone else makes. However, the point of the expression is, if something happens to you, do you cry victim,
Right.
oh, poor me, or do you take responsibility for the part or possible
What do you own?
part, you know what? Maybe I wasn't as supportive. Maybe I wasn't as kind. Maybe I wasn't as loving. Maybe I could have done this differently.
No.
Maybe I could have.
No,
So I'm
I
just
don't
asking.
care.
No,
So
then
I'm
I don't
asking,
care.
what do
No,
you
then
say
you're
to that
allowing yourself
expression?
to be
No.
manipulated and abused by the situation. You make a conscious
Always?
choice. You
Yes.
make a conscious
Always?
choice.
She said
If
yes.
he decides to go out and cheat once and he comes back and is like, baby, I am so sorry. I made a mistake. You know what, thought there could be better, and you know what, there is no better, and I really realized what I did. Okay, you know what, maybe you can get past it. If you make a mistake 100 times, bitch, that's not a mistake. You are choosing.
So you don't agree
Yeah.
with that saying at all. You're not there's no self-inflection. It's just completely
No.
on the other individual.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you flip it and you cheat on a male, is the male going to be like, oh, what did I do wrong?
What did I do?
No, he's
But
going to be
I'm
like, fuck
asking.
that bitch, da-da-da-da, whatever.
Well, I would ask him the same question. Well, what did you do to make that girl go out and cheat on
That's
you?
what I'm saying. At the end of the day, you need to own what did you do wrong, why that happened to you. And
But-
vice versa. It doesn't matter if it's male or female.
Is it
But-
something
Why
that
did
you're
that
attracting?
happen to
Is it
you?
something that you're putting out? Is it something like,
Thank
what
you.
is it?
You
Okay,
can't control
but
other people. You can't.
realistically,
You can't. That's true.
realistically, who reflects and is like, oh, what did I do wrong in the relationship?
That's the
no.
point. Maybe
But-
you should.
But
Yeah.
people don't.
Maybe they
But
should.
people don't.
That's maybe an issue.
But they don't.
And that's what we're
So,
talking
Deandra, in
Yes.
your future,
Yes.
if your husband comes and was like, I cheated on you, you're going to look at yourself and be like, what did I do wrong?
Okay, do you want my honest answer? I can
Yeah.
give 100 with you. If I'm talking, you said husband. If I'm husband, I
We're
didn't say
talking about
boyfriend.
proposals
Yeah, and
and
that's why I
marriage.
said husband. And that's why I think too, that's why naturally to answer the question, I said it depends on what you believe in. If the institution of marriage is the concept where both individuals understand that this is the vow that we've taken, right? And we're both on the same page about that vow, hopefully, right? One
You got
individual,
married, you would hope so.
You would hope, right? And that's what I'm saying. Ideal situation.
Yeah.
We both agreed on what we did. And then once you take that vow, it's literally you've built. That's supposed to be the second half of what you are. So if part of me hurts me or does something to offend me, of course the other half of you is going to look in the mirror and say, well, what did I do? And I'm not saying...
But why are you being victimized?
But this is
I
what
don't
I'm saying.
understand.
That's what
Why
I'm
are you
saying.
thinking
I'm not
it as
saying
it's part
for you
of
to
you?
sit there to think it's your
I
fault.
think it's a
But
part
I'm
of
saying
him.
you should definitely look at the individual and say what's unto you is for you. But I don't think it's healthy for you to sit there and say, I did absolutely nothing wrong.
That's crazy.
You're a human being. You make mistakes too.
That's crazy
It's not
to
an
think that
excuse.
way.
But
There's
not
no-
enough
No, I'm
to
not
go
saying.
and do
I'm not
that.
saying it's
No,
not an
no,
excuse.
not
It's
enough.
definitely
No,
not
and
an
you know
excuse.
what?
I'm gonna
the
roll
word.
my
Whoa,
eyes.
whoa, whoa, whoa. This is a good one. It's getting juicy. I like that. I like
Let me
that.
finish. I don't
I'm
think.
about to roll
I
my eyes.
don't think you should sit there there and blame yourself or an excuse. I'm just saying, on your personal time, right? Mm-hmm. Say one day you come home, there's no one in the house but you. You sit down and you say to yourself, you know what? There are some things that I personally would have done differently for me. And I'm not even saying you have to share that with the other individual. I'm saying when you go to sleep at night and you sit and you reflect and you're like, next time, maybe I'll do this differently. Or maybe I'll do this differently. Or I'll do that differently. And then, of course, that's what I'm saying. It's not about the other individual. It's about for going forward.
Okay,
make sure that you never end up in this situation again.
You know
so that this doesn't happen.
No, but you know what? I think maybe the first time.
Yeah, I think if you did it once,
maybe the first time.
If you did it once and
But
owned it, but if it's a multiple thing
like
and a reoccurrence,
no.
there's no fucking forgiving that.
No,
why are we sitting down for reoccurrences?
Hold on, ladies. When you're saying it's multiple times, again, what are we talking about? Are you guys just talking the physical act? Just sex? Is that what's bothering you? Is that
it doesn't matter. You're stepping outside.
No, but hold on.
I think we're talking about cheating in any context.
Cheating in any context. So what I'm saying is, if it continually keeps happening, is it like it has to just be the person, or you don't take any ownership at all? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, that's what I'm saying. After like the fourth or third time, bro, it's your fault. You're still sitting there. Why are you not gone? If that's what you don't know, and that's what I'm saying. That's when you should self-inflect. How can you think not at all? I'm sorry, I didn't let you speak. I wanted.
No, that's different. We weren't talking about that. Initially, we were talking about if somebody cheats on you, and you're like, oh, you need to look at yourself and think, why did this happen? That's different than if somebody is continuously cheating on you and you keep taking them back. Right. Those are two different things.
Yeah. Right. If you don't know, and then you're being continuously cheated on, and then all of a sudden it comes to
you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
Okay.
Right? Like, that's what I mean. Like, if they come to you and they're like, okay, I cheated once, and you decide to rekindle your relationship, reevaluate both of yourselves, how can we fix this? How can we move past this? Mm-hmm. But if your significant other is consistently cheating on you, and you have no idea until after, how are you supposed to look back if you're working, if you're taking care of kids, if you're taking care of the house, if you're managing the family, if you're doing all of these things? Mm-hmm. How are you supposed to look back and be like, oh yeah, sorry I was having your 2 kids. Like, sorry that I was doing groceries. Sorry that I was doing your laundry. Sorry that I was, you know what I mean? Like, how are you going to reevaluate yourself?
I think,
were you neglecting him too, though?
First of all, fuck him!
What
about neglecting us?
That's a good question.
Fuck that shit. Neglect is a bullshit fucking answer. Hello? You need to put your goddamn pride aside, go to your room, beat your goddamn dick, and be faithful to your woman. That's it.
No, but honestly, you have to take some ownership as well. Okay,
no, I'm not sorry.
If you are neglecting your husband, there's a reason why you're neglecting your husband. Your husband is not helping you manage your family. Yeah, your husband is not helping you raise the children. Your husband is not helping you, keep up the household. Your husband's not helping you. You're not 50-50. Mm-hmm. You have to be in
it together.
A partnership.
It's a partnership.
But that's why I'm saying collectively, the both of you should sit there and say, the man should say, well, what did I do? The woman should say, well, what did I do?
No.
And then both of you should say, you know what do we do to each other? Is that not fair? I'm just asking you, Jess, is that not fair?
No, but you think that you're going to look your husband, think that you're going to look your husband in the face and be like, I forgive you for cheating on me for this much time.
I'm not saying.
You're going to be like, bitch, pack your bags and go to your fucking mom's
but that's
house.
what I said. I'm not saying you have to talk to him about
it.
Is a cheater
but I'm
is
saying
a cheater. Both individuals in their piece of at night, they should say, you know what? This is what I did. This is what I take ownership for, and now I go my separate ways.
Hold on.
Wait,
what I've taken from this is that Jessica, Tamara, and Kristen have been cheated on, and Deandra has not.
Okay, that's not a fair thing. What you can take from it is that Deandra is a very, very, very much so about the self-growth and the self-healing.
No,
at the end of the day, y'all can say what you want. I don't need to share with you my personal experiences for you to validate my opinions. That's fine. I just personally think that if something happens to me, even if it's not my fault, and I'm not saying I don't agree with you, of course human beings people are gonna be people, and they're always gonna make their own choices. So yes, sometimes things happen to you. But I'm always going to stand firm and say that sometimes you welcome things in your life. And if that's your choice, you need to take ownership for that.
I
And
respect that.
And that
Yeah,
is
I
what you
respect
need to do, because you are only going to be the person that's going to count and look out for you. So at the end of the day, if you're always going to have this opinion, well, it happened to me. Well, what are you going to do about it? You're going to have to
you
heal.
know what?
I'm packing my bags and I'm
Hold on.
fucking
And
leaving.
for your own healing,
Hold on.
take ownership and heal yourself.
Hold on.
That's on you.
But
Jess, what
Delani,
were you gonna say? What were you
wait.
gonna
To your point, as like, oh well, why do they cheat and why do they men cheat? Because they need all the attention. They feel insecure. They don't get whatever sex 5 times a day or 5 times a week or whatever. But you know what? Your wife is taking care of the groceries. Your wife is taking care of the kids. Your wife is taking care of the house. Your wife is taking care of all the bills. Your wife is doing all of these things. Do you appreciate that?
But let me
Are
ask
you
this
taking
question.
that into consideration, or you just want to get your nut?
But let me ask you this question. When you're courting, right? And this is the problem. When you're courting, were you doing that before? Were you giving him sex 5 times a day?
Do you guys have kids? Do you
But
have
I'm
2
asking
kids? Do you have
were
a
you doing
kid?
it before?
It depends.
So you're conditioning that person to realize every time that you're with them, you're
Not
doing
really.
that.
Okay.
Now you want to
Always
switch
does this.
and go,
Okay.
okay, now I'm not going to do it because
That's
I have
fine.
kids,
No, it's
right?
not not
And I
doing
have
it.
this
It's
and I
about
have this.
life.
So,
Life happens. My needs
so I'll let
change.
you go.
I'm
I'll
not
let
going
you
to be
go.
the same
I'm
person
just saying,
that
so
you
what's
met
going to
10
happen
years
So
ago.
say
is
that.
now when you're conditioning
That's
either
true.
way, it
Like,
doesn't
that's
be
not
man
fair
or
for you to
women.
think I can
At
do
the end of the
the
day,
same
like
thing.
if you're
We're gonna be
conditioning
different
someone when you're
people.
courting,
We
they
grow,
think
we
that's what
change,
you're
we
marrying.
evolve.
That's
You
what they're
need to
going to
see
get
that.
on a
It's
day-to-day
true.
basis.
Yeah.
That
It's
changes.
unfair.
So how does that
May
work
I?
for both parties?
Okay.
Let
But
me
it's
go
very different when you're courting a woman. You're doing everything you can to that woman. You're taking her
To
out.
get
You're
them.
going on
Yes.
dates. You're doing flowers. You're this, that. Baby,
Y'all
go get your
stop doing
nails
that
done.
after a while,
Baby,
too.
go get your hair done. What the fuck do you do after you have kids? Nothing. You're like, where's my dinner? Where's the groceries? How come the kid's diaper's not changed? You're not. You're conditioning her for nothing too. She could go off and fuck whoever she wants.
Right. That's the point. So where do we find the balance? Who takes responsibility? How do we reflect internally on both sides? It has to be a reflection
No.
on both sides.
Instead
So
of
what you're
taking
saying?
the energy,
It's insecurity.
I wanna
It's
hear what
insecurity.
That's America.
No. Instead of taking the energy that you're putting into fucking another woman, put that into your wife. Take those, this new chick that you
It's
meet
too
online or
hard,
whatever. You're gonna take her
It's
out to
too
dinner.
hard.
You're gonna book a hotel
It's
room. Do that
easier.
with your wife.
Yeah, it's easier.
Like,
Yeah,
to
because
do
the
it with a
grass
new
is
bitch.
greener on the other
No.
side.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
No, but
That-
it's easier to do it with a new bitch because you can be whoever you want with that new bitch,
I
right?
don't know. I don't get it.
With
I don't know.
your own wife, it's more effort. It's more like it's just more effort to put in.
I don't get it.
I don't either, but it is.
But it's not your fault. It's always their
And that's
fault.
What?
Always.
And you see, I don't play that.
100%.
I don't play that.
Round of
And I
applause,
think
round of
I think
applause.
that is part of the issue as to why like men and women just always gonna be like this
It's
because
true.
at the end of the day nobody ever wants to take responsibility for anything.
That's life.
It's her fault. It's
That's
his
life,
fault.
yeah.
It's his fault. It's her fault, bro. What about you? When are you gonna sit there and be like, you know what? This part or this little bit, even if it's 2%, is my fault. And I'm gonna be okay with that
there's
because
so-
that's the mistake I made.
There's so
I let
few
you.
people
I
that do that. There's so few people.
and that's
that
to
do
the
that.
question.
Yeah.
People that do that, your growth and your healing
Yeah.
and your self-efficacy is better because at the end of the day, you're able to own your shit and you develop
Oh, yeah.
a.
Sorry, I was taking care of the family and you went out to get your dick wet. Sorry.
Jess, I'm not talking about the
Sorry.
obvious things. I'm talking about the things that exactly what Delani said. Like if things honestly have changed over the years, if you
But they
can
do.
honestly,
It's inevitable.
and that's what I'm saying.
It's inevitable. Your
So-
relationship's gonna change.
Yes,
There's things that are gonna.
I'm
you're
agreeing
not
with
gonna
you.
be
So if it's a
100
relationship, it's both of you. You can never just say it's only your fault. We were in this together. Both of us made the vow. How are you
Right.
gonna sit there and say it's just you?
Because if you are the one that is going outside of your marriage and fucking somebody else, that's on you. That's
Yes,
not on me.
That is
That is
on
on you.
you.
Done.
But what did I do to make you feel
It
like
does
that
not
was your
matter.
only choice?
It does not matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't
No,
matter how
because
you're
it matters
married. It doesn't
towards
matter.
your own
Here's the
Good times
thing.
and bad
self-preservation.
times.
Here's
It
the
doesn't
thing:
matter.
is that when you get to that point as a person where you feel that need to go outside your marriage,
Yeah, you shouldn't be a fucking pussy. You should be like, bitch, this isn't working and I need to
Thank
leave.
you.
You,
Exactly.
should
be able
have
to-
enough
Exactly.
balls.
Exactly.
you should be able to communicate to
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
person. That's your
That's
person.
what-
So
You
I
should
think-
be able
I
to
think my
communicate.
point-
But
I think
isn't
what I'm
that why
trying to say-
counseling is there? Because you can't communicate with the other person? The person doesn't allow you to talk.
Okay,
the person is
so
too
here-
That's
talking
a
to
whole-
themselves. You
That's
can't
a
talk talk to them.
whole
Here's the
nother
thing.
conversation.
Here's the thing, though, about counseling is that when you go to counseling, it's you
I need a carrot.
and
I need a refill.
it's
stressing me out.
it's you and your significant other and the counselor, and that's great because you're in a safe environment, right? So you can speak your truth and they can speak their truth, and you're in a safe environment where you pay hundreds of dollars to this person to listen to your bullshit, and then they give you their bullshit answers, and then guess what? You have to go home with your significant other who you just told was shit. I said that you were shit, essentially, for the last hour and a half, and now let's drive home in the
Yeah,
same
and go
car
have
together.
romantic sex
Yeah.
because you're so fucking bullshit.
Listen, what I say
So-
at the end of the day is like, the hard truth for me has always been you're born alone, you're gonna die alone. Anything that you do in that time space is on you. When you get to any when you get to, you know, if you believe in any kind of afterlife, or if you believe that you die when you die, whatever it is, this couple years that you have, you're accountable for them. Period. So I'm always gonna be that person that's gonna be like, you know what? People, you cannot control people. The only thing you have control of is what you allow to affect your peace, how you heal if someone disturbs it, and how you so process the things that life throws at you.
Okay, so
and I'm
hold on.
never gonna sit there and just blame somebody else for my unhappiness. I'm gonna take charge of it, and even if you piss me off, and even if you hurt me, it's my choice how I'm gonna deal with it.
Right, you leave. Bye. But hold on, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So
we're gonna wrap
if-
up on this. This was intense. I like
So
this.
if a female cheats on a male and they just up and leave, it's okay because the male got cheated on and his ego got hurt. But if a male cheats on a female, the female is supposed to be forgiving and understanding.
No. I didn't say any of the forgiving and understanding. Notice what I said. I said it's all about self-preservation. I didn't say that you should share any of this with him either, Jess. I'm saying for your health going forward, if you want to feel better, I think self-inflection is a positive thing
Yeah,
towards
you know what? You
feeling better.
lose 230 pounds and you're like, bye,
And I'm
bitch.
saying if that's what you need, whatever. But I'm not, and that's why I said self. I didn't say gender specific. Obviously, men suck. But I do think when they sit at home and I didn't mean it like that.
Sorry,
But
Lori.
Yes, you did.
but I mean, like, I think too, men sometimes they do when they're alone and it's really quiet, and then say the woman has left them after they screwed up. Sometimes they do have that moment of self-reflection and they go, oh shit, what did I do
Yeah,
here?
they're like, oh, baby, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
I fucked
yeah.
up for years.
And
Can
this
you
is-
forgive me?
This is
The
all
fuck
I'm
are you
saying,
calling my
Jess.
phone?
I think that is good for everybody.
And just to go around the table quickly as we're wrapping up, what is your final closing thoughts on this? Because this was really good.
I gave
That was
mine
intense.
Boy,
already.
bye. I second that. Bye, cheater.
Bye.
We're gonna wrap it up with one last question, and it's on you, Deandra, to read it out. And you guys go ahead. We got 10 minutes.
Okay, so I already picked the question, so I'll read it here. Is it possible to have an open relationship or marriage?
Oh.
Kristen, would you like to start?
It is not possible for me. You can't share good dick.
No, you can't share good
No,
dick.
not only
Hold on,
that,
hold on,
but like,
hold on.
not only the physicality piece of it, but I wouldn't be able to share my heart with anybody else. And when I say my heart, I mean my spouse's heart and all of that they are. I couldn't share that with anybody else. And I also couldn't share the dick with anyone else.
So it's not possible for you.
Not possible for me.
What do you think?
Not possible for me either, personally, but it is possible. If both people are on the same page and you set clear boundaries that it's just...
What are the boundaries?
It's just sex. There's no feelings.
Yeah, but the boundaries.
That's lies.
No,
That's bullshit.
No, but it does work. I
That's
know
bullshit.
people. I know people that do it and it works. And
But
they've
the
been together
boundaries
and they're
are up
happy.
to those people.
Up
They
to
have
what
to
people?
like
up
they
to
have
the couple?
yeah, they
Yeah,
have to
totally.
be up to the couple.
Totally.
Like they have to be completely on the same
Totally.
page.
And I think you have
Yeah.
to be very honest and very
Yeah.
open with your partner, but 100%.
What are you going to tell your wife? Hey, yeah, I was out and I fucked this girl while you were at work, but it was great.
Yeah, yeah.
How was your
in the male, like it's you have to be on the same page. It can work.
No, that shit
It can.
doesn't
No,
work.
it does.
I think me and Jessica
It
finally
does
agree on
work.
something. I don't think that
Like,
shit
I don't
I
work.
personally know, but I know like 2 couples that both have open relationships and they're happy. And like
Yeah,
one
do
of
you
them
want to
has
know
kids.
why they're happy? Because they're not happy with each other and neither of them leave.
I don't know. It works.
The question is it
works.
possible?
It is possible.
I don't. Can we add like, is it possible to have a healthy open relationship for marriage?
Yeah, but what's your definition of healthy?
That's
Like,
what I'm
does
saying.
that
Can we
mean?
put that word healthy in there? Because I think a
Yeah,
little bit
but
of what
health-
Jess is talking about is going on. If I'm with you and I gotta be doing stuff with other people, I don't know if we are healthy.
No.
I don't know if we're okay
No,
here.
I
I
think-
think we gotta reevaluate.
Like,
what
do
we
you
got
tell
going
your
on.
husband, like, hey, babe, yeah, I sucked a dick today and it was great. And he's like, yeah, bitch, I ate this girl and it was lovely.
I think,
Is that your dinner
honestly,
conversation?
I think
Like,
if you're
what
in
the
a true open relationship, like you don't get it. I personally don't get it. But if you're in a true open relationship, yes, it's just sex. You're
That's
putting
all it is,
emotion
and
and
you gotta
feeling.
be able to remove
Sex is
that
sex is sex,
emotional,
that's it.
that emotional.
But I
I'm
don't
sorry,
think- I don't
it
think
is
a lot of people
never
are able
just
to do
sex.
that.
It is never just
For the
sex.
woman.
Ask a
For the
man.
woman. For
Ask
the
a
woman.
man if it's just
For the
sex.
woman.
For the woman, for the man, it is never. It could. You can say that it's going to start off as just sex, and it's only sex. And if you continue having sex with that person, it is never just sex.
I think if you do it once, it could be.
I
But I
don't
think I
know.
agree.
Maybe just one and
second,
done.
yeah. Second, third, fourth time.
No, there's not just sex. Like
I think let me put a caveat in there. I think it's possible if you're having one night stands.
yeah.
If you're having sex with the same person continuously over and over and over
It's a
again, and
relationship.
you're now having a sidebar relationship with
No.
somebody else.
I
Yes.
It's a
agree.
relationship.
Yes.
Sex. If you're just having sex with the person, you might not even know their name. That's not a
Look,
I
relationship.
disagree with that.
What
After
continues?
the fourth
seriously.
time of having sex with someone, you're gonna know their name.
You're not calling them daddy every time. You're gonna call their name.
And that's what I want to
I
say.
don't know.
It's
I don't know.
possible to have an open relationship.
Oh my God, there's
if you're
no
having
way.
one night stands or if
It
you're
is.
seeing prostitutes. If you are having a continuous sexual relationship
Okay,
with
what's the
another
question?
individual,
Serious
you
question.
are having a side
Okay.
relationship in connection to us.
So what about swingers? It's different people all the time, I think, right?
Yeah.
So
But that's to
if
your
you're
point.
so if you're a swinger, then you agree that an open
I
relationship
think
would work.
that's more possible.
Okay.
But if you're having a consistent relationship with another individual outside of our marriage, you are now, I mean, I guess I wouldn't call it cheating, but you have 2 relationships going at the same time. I think maybe
There's
maybe
no
it's
way that
third
you
time,
can have-
third time you fuck them, you now got a relationship
Yeah,
with
there
that
is
person.
no way that you can continuously have sex with one individual and have no ties.
But it's an
Even if you
open
don't have a mental
relationship.
tie,
You're
your body
allowed.
is physically tied to that person.
Yeah, but you're
So-
allowed. It's an open relationship.
Yeah, you're allowed.
So if you're okay with it and your partner is okay with it, what does it matter?
I guess it says, is it possible? I would like to say it's possible if it's one night stands. That's where I think it's possible.
Yeah, I think if you just fuck random people all the time and it is what it is and you ghost after, sure. I mean, you could fuck
Yeah.
as many people as you want and have no ties.
Yeah.
But if you're fucking the same person
So you think-
consistently, there's ties.
So you think the man would get attached?
No, I'm saying both.
Really? But what percentage of men do you think actually get attached, or would they just
You'd
be
be
able to
surprised
So
how
you
good a
think it's
walk
like-
is.
But that's
Okay,
what I said, Delani. It's not necessarily about what you just mentally decide to compartmentalize. Your body physically is attached to that person.
Yeah.
So do you
You've
feel
shared
I don't know.
body fluids.
I don't
It's
know, but-
Do you
science,
feel like it's like a
Delani. You are
slippery
attached
slope?
to
I
that
don't know.
You're gonna keep
individual.
fucking people until
It's
you meet
facts.
someone who's better than
Yeah.
the last.
I
or
feel
whatever.
like exactly. You can have an
Okay.
open relationship and fuck as many people as you want, but you will feel that connection with one person and you will go back and fuck that person.
Yeah.
And then
And that-
everyone else is not
And
a
then it
random
shatters.
connection.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
your open relationship is now having 2 relationships.
It's now polygamy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sister wives.
Yeah, you might as well have 17,000 kids and like all live together in one roof.
But I guess to your point, Kristen, that's basically. I mean, we've
It's
had.
what it becomes.
I was about to say we've added new
Yeah.
titles, open relationship. It's
Yeah.
basically polygamy in
Yeah.
a broken down
Yeah.
form.
But honestly, how many men would be okay for their wives to go out and have sex with someone and to come home?
I think
True.
there's a lot of men that
I
would do
think,
that.
I
I think there's a lot of men that would do that.
You're
Unfortunately,
talking
I think
so
a lot
much
of guys
shit.
would do that.
What?
I
So
think a
much
lot of
shit.
guys would be okay with that.
So much
No,
shit.
but I think a lot of men would because then they get to go.
Of course.
Yeah.
You'd be
Or
shocked.
maybe they think you'll be
Talking
okay with
so
it,
much
but then
shit.
when it actually
So
happens,
much
they're
shit.
like,
I think
So
too, a
much
lot of
shit.
men, they're just kind of like, you know what? Go give it to somebody else. Come back when you're done.
There's
don't
no
know.
way. Their pride would be hurt. Their manhood would be hurt. Like, oh my God, my wife fucked someone else. It's all fucking bullshit. It's a double standard 100% that they can go out and fuck and we have to stay home and be like Betty Crocker doing everything that they can. The moment that we go and fuck someone else is like, oh, well, you fucked someone else or you did this. Shut up.
The only thing, and I'm talking from a man's standpoint, the only thing that would be different is the way men look at sex is it's more of a competitive thing. So if you went and you sucked the guy's dick, then he might go, well, did you suck his dick? You didn't suck my dick. That's all it would be. It's not about emotion. So
It doesn't matter.
You're talking about emotion. They don't give a shit about the emotion. They're talking about the physical act.
Okay.
It's completely
No,
different.
okay, you're in a relationship with someone.
So wait, you're just gonna fuck a bitch and fuck a bitch. You're not gonna eat her pussy?
No.
Bullshit.
Are you crazy?
First of all,
Some guys don't ever do that. Go and do some
Yeah,
research.
and you know what the problem is? That's the people that get cheated on.
100%.
Okay?
You're right. You're right.
Okay? So if you're with a guy and they don't eat pussy, your bitch is gonna go and get her pussy ate.
Hey, that's how I know you might be like, go get that done then. You're gonna get what you need to get done.
What is happening?
Just say
Yeah, I just turned my head away from that. I couldn't listen to that. I couldn't be a part of that right there. That's
I can't.
my blood.
I can't. That's my blood.
Yeah, I can't listen to
my
that.
God.
I can take a lot. I can't listen to that.
Okay,
that right there.
So no, it doesn't work. Wait,
No, it doesn't
Is it
work.
possible? Suggest things it's not possible.
No.
Hold on. I just got a question in from somebody. If you both agree on an open relationship and the guy accidentally knocks you up, what happens then?
That shit's over.
That's good. That's a good one. That's a good
Damn.
question. What do you guys say to that?
Damn.
It's over.
That's
Okay.
deep.
Okay.
That's
Remember
deep.
when I said earlier about setting boundaries?
Right.
So, but like,
Yes.
if you want to do this,
Yes.
you need to set hard boundaries. Like,
Hell yes.
are you on the pill? Are you gonna use
Hell
it to make sure that
yes.
doesn't happen?
So hold on,
Well,
let
what
me know.
happens if it does?
Hold on, let me know. That's what I was about to say.
I know.
That's why I'm
If you're
firmly
already
to
pregnant,
say
Plan B doesn't work.
This shit don't work. That's what I'm saying. Like you can set all the boundaries you want, and that's why I said theoretically it's a great concept. Or you're just gonna have this.
It only takes one pull out is weak. One
Life
pull out is weak and you're
never
pregnant as
works
fuck.
life like that. So I think you can have all the boundaries, but when shit happens, now we're in it. Now what we gonna do? So
Yeah,
that's
you
really
have a
great.
choice to do it or not to do it.
Exactly. It's great for the theory, but now that we're in it, okay, I'm mad at you, you're mad at me, we both made
Yeah, but
mistakes.
exactly.
What we gonna do?
So if this open relationship comes back and your significant other comes back and is like,
I got
oh,
someone
she's
pregnant."
pregnant, or oh, I'm pregnant by someone else, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. That's what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
know.
In terms of like this, that's why I said it's a lot of caveats. If it's a
Yes,
healthy relationship,
it
I don't
is.
think so. If it's a one and done, maybe, and even that it's worse.
You can get
I don't-
pregnant off
I
a
don't-
one and done.
And that's why I said even that it could be
Are
worse.
you using protection? Are you not using protection?
that's
Do they
why I
pull out?
said
Do they
it.
not pull
It's
out?
Like,
Does
complicated.
it break?
For sure, it's complicated.
It's not worth it.
It could
So like
work.
possible. I mean, anything's possible. Like
Yeah.
freaking
Yeah, but at the same time, I
deers
feel
could
like
fly. But does
I
that mean
feel
you
like-
want to do it?
I feel like
Is
if
it
you're
worth it?
with someone and you truly want to be with that person, you should not seek elsewhere.
That's a different conversation.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how
If you
sexually
believe in,
creative
if
you
you
want to
believe
be.
in monogamy,
That's
right?
what.
But
That's
if
why
you're in
I
an
said,
open
yeah.
relationship, you don't believe in monogamy. So
I know,
It
but
depends
it's
what you
just
believe in.
it's very. I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
no, I get what you're saying, but I'm just playing devil's advocate for fun.
No, that's
I
fair. I
get
totally
what you're
agree
saying
with you.
too. It depends on what
But
you
I
believe
think
in.
it depends on, it's all circumstances. Like, if you have a one night stand with someone and you get pregnant, or if they have a one night stand with someone and they get pregnant, what are you going to do?
If you
What if
want to
that
be in an
female-
open relationship, that's I guess a risk.
Yeah,
you're
but what
willing
if
to
that
take. I
female
don't know.
doesn't want to take another option? What if that female wants to have a baby and now
Yeah,
you and
that's-
your relationship have an outside child?
Ugh,
How do you
terrible.
swallow that pill? Or if
Yeah.
you get pregnant by someone else, how is your partner going to swawlow that
Yeah.
pill?
I just wait till
messed
that kid
up.
when they're old enough.
Oh
Yeah, like, oh yeah, me and your dad were together, but me and your dad were together.
awkward.
Right? Like-
yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
complicated.
How is that going to work?
I think, I mean, in terms of, I hate the question. Is it possible? Yeah, anything's possible, but is that what you really want to do?
No, it's not.
Is
I'm
it
just going to
worth
throw
it?
it out there. Women do not share good dick, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't happen.
It
All
doesn't
right.
happen.
It doesn't happen. You either share dick because it's trash or you share dick because you're into women.
All right.
You do not share good dick.
Okay.
Those are the
All
final
right.
closing moments. And with wrapping up, did you guys like today's episode? Was it fun? Did you
Yeah,
guys
I'm
like it?
sweating.
We did a lot. Yeah, so I'm trying to put my hair.
All right, and that was today's episode of Girl Talk. We want to get you guys back for the next one. And if you guys have anything or closing moments you want to say to the camera, do so. If not, let's shut it down.
Bye.
You're gonna plug your Insta?
Oh yeah, let's plug in my Insta at Anessa ANNESSA.Rose.
Hey girl. Hey.
Follow me.
Okay.
Okay.